Here's how to actually make your first $1,000 with copywriting from a copywriter who's worked with brands like these and been verified by magazines like this. What I'm going to show you has also been helping my one-to-one students get results like these in 2025. And I'm making this video because, let's be honest, there's a lot of new faces in the copywriting scene nowadays, all shouting over each other about the next shiny tactic or strategy that'll help you make money with copywriting. And I get it, there's a lot of demand from people because copywriting sounds easy, you send out some DMs, you write some stuff with AI, and boom, you've made some cash. But if it were that easy, you'd already be making money right now and you probably wouldn't need a video like this. So most of the stuff you hear online is just regurgitated or out of date or purely misinformed. So I'm not going to tell you in this video to go and start a school community and teach people copywriting and that is the way to make money. I want to teach you how to make actual real money working with clients and being a copywriter. Okay, so before we get into this, let's just call something out, right? And this is that idea that copywriting is really easy now. It's almost too easy. You've probably seen those videos where people are like, you can just click a button with AI, have it produce all your copy for you. You send 100 DMs out on Instagram and you'll get some clients. And I get it. It sounds doable. Chances are it's unlikely that most of the people who watch this video will have actually sent outreach before or done any sort of copywriting to a high level. And what that means is you don't have real, credible, real-world experience yet with copywriting and actually trying to make money with it. So here's a piece of advice from someone who's an actual paid copywriter and who has clients that are making money in the current landscape of copywriting and AI. The stuff that people are telling you to do, the template prompts, the basic stuff that people tell you when it comes to making money with copywriting, that produces really crappy copy. Like if you get copy that's written by ChatGPT, for example, 99% of the time it's terrible. And the big problem with this is people who are being told to write AI copy and then send it out to business owners are shooting themselves in the foot without even knowing it because they've been led astray by these bad gurus. Because if you send a piece of AI written copy to a business owner, he can within a millisecond know that it's written by AI and he will never ever work with you as long as he lives. Because to send out AI written copy or to try and produce AI written copy for a client and not understand how to tweak it properly and make it look good, you pretty much tell the business owner that you are super lazy and you don't actually value his money because he's paid you to write some copy, or you're trying to pitch yourself to get copywriting gigs from him and you're just sending him AI slop, which just immediately tells him you have a lack of respect for him. I know one particular case of a guy who did this and he even had a VSL that was fully written by AI and he reads it out and you can clearly tell, like an old person could tell that this is written by AI, and he was sending out these emails and people weren't replying to him and he thought, oh, copywriting's dead or my offer isn't going to make money. And in reality, it's just that he was doing a terrible job and he was being too lazy to actually write the copy himself. Now, I will talk about how you can get AI to write copy for you and it takes away a lot of the work, but it's important that you understand this point. So if you're just starting with copywriting and you want to make your first $1,000, the first thing you need to do is start writing copy yourself for 30 days without using AI. This is like a prerequisite for everybody that joins my one-to-one coaching program, because if they want to actually make money, I need to make sure that they're practicing every single day and that they're genuinely reading sales pages or emails from other great copywriters and putting in the practice themselves. The worst thing you can do is just start following one of these gurus' advice about writing all your copy with AI and then expecting it to look good, because AI will tell you that this is good copy and people will pay for this and it will look good to an untrained copywriter's eye. But I'm telling you from experience, it is a poor decision to do this. All right, so let's talk about these gurus that you might be seeing on your feed and why what they tell you is probably the worst advice you can get. So typically they're all pretty charismatic. They can speak well on camera. They can say things that make it sound really, really easy to get into copywriting and making a lot of money. And I don't think they're bad people. I just think that they're leading people down the wrong path because in general, they haven't actually got as much experience as someone like me who's worked with big brands and who's been doing this for a long time. If you try and dig into most of the gurus that you see, you'll find that they don't have many clients that they can put out there and name, because if you name a client that you've worked with and you haven't actually worked with them, you're getting sued. So that's why I'm so confident to say the brands that I've put out there, because I have proof and receipts, and even in some of my videos I explain, look, here's exactly how I got this client, and I show proof. But some of these guys come out and tell you that that's how they got rich, was with copywriting, and in reality it was all through courses and school communities and groups like that. And I just want to make this point of actually just be careful and make sure that the person you're learning from has good experience. Because if you're going to start a business based on someone's advice, you want to make sure that that person knows what they're talking about. If you follow the wrong person's advice when you're starting, you will waste months of your life, and you might even give up on this and think that it's not real because you've tried something, it didn't work, and you feel like it's just a scam. And that kind of breaks my heart, because I think there's a lot of people out there who have a lot of potential and could genuinely change their lives by starting a copywriting business, but they just get misled and end up gassing out and getting too exhausted to keep going with this business model. So please don't do that. Stick with me, and I'm going to show you in this video how you can start to get some clients and make $1,000. So the next point I want to make here is that there's a fantasy going around that copywriting is just passive income. Like, it's just something you set up and collect money forever with. And I hate to break it to you, but that's just not how it works. Copywriting is a skill that requires time and effort to get good at. Now, it doesn't take you as long as what a college degree might take. Honestly, you can get pretty good at copywriting within a month if you're putting the work in. But when you do start to get decent at copywriting, you understand the fundamentals, you've written a lot of copy yourself without AI, you can start to build a little bit of leverage here, where when you do start to use AI, you can kind of tell if what it's written is shit. Whereas if a person who didn't practice and didn't put any of the work in beforehand tries to get AI to write copy, they will put copy out in terms of like their cold DMs. Like, they'll send messages out to business owners that are written by AI and they won't get any responses, whereas you probably will get more responses if you're decent at copywriting. In fact, I can guarantee you will get better responses. And in terms of passive income, you can make passive income with copywriting, but only after you've gotten decent at it. I would never recommend you try and teach someone else copywriting until you've at least made $10,000 with it. But once you get to your first $1,000, it's genuinely not that difficult to scale up from there, because you've already got a paying client or two who can either pay you more money themselves or refer you to other people who can also pay you money, or the method that you use to get that first client, you can also use to get other clients by yourself. So really, the hard work in copywriting is just in getting to your first 1K. But luckily, it is quite simple. I'm not going to say it's easy, but it's simple to get there. You just have to follow a couple of steps. So the first step I would give you is to, for the next 30 days, write out copy for products and services that you're interested in all the different industries. So write for tech companies, write for e-commerce brands, write for health offers, write for make money offers. Just try and write something every single day. Take at least 2 hours per day if you can, and just practice the actual skill. You will learn so much more in that 30 days of practice than you will ever learn from one of these gurus who just makes their money selling courses. Now, this little 30-day sprint that you do will get you so much closer to your goal. Now, when it comes to actually getting clients and making money, the first place I would recommend that you go to is Upwork. And you might have heard that going to Upwork to get clients maybe is a bad idea because it's a race to the bottom, or you think that there's too much competition. But from what I've seen, most of the people who are advertising copywriting services on Upwork are not very good, and it's very easy to beat them if you do what I told you in the last point. Upwork is a really simple, low-risk way to go out and start reaching out to business owners, seeing how many respond to you based on what you send them, and you'll start to learn so much about outreach without even having to spend any money. And with Upwork, you can also spend a little bit of money to get in front of more business owners, and this will help you massively because it wipes out most of the copywriters that you would have been competing with otherwise. So if you do have a little bit of budget to start getting business in for yourself, $50, you can do that, but you can also still do it for free, which is what I really like about Upwork. And I've got people in our group who have made $10,000 plus per month just by copywriting on Upwork. Now, the way to get clients is fairly simple. You set up your profile and you start sending out proposals to job posts that you see posted on there by people who actively want copywriters. This is much better than doing Instagram DMs or cold emails, even though they do work, because you have people who are actively looking for the service rather than you going out and searching for people and hoping that they want it. Once you get your first client on Upwork, it's important that you don't do the absolute bare minimum, which is again what most people do. Like, I hate to say it's easy to make $1,000 online if you've never done it before, but if you're good, it is easy because the bar is so low for most freelancers and most people who try and start making money online that just by putting in a small amount of work, you can beat most people. There's even a Dana White quote I like, which is about how most people are so easy to beat because the bar is so low nowadays. And if you're just a savage, you will destroy everybody and it'll be so much easier for you to make money than it will be for them. Now, something I want to tell you that most people probably won't reveal is that one of the biggest sort of mindset things you need to be a successful copywriter and make money is just consistency and confidence. You can have the fanciest little AI system in the world to try and get you clients, but if you're not consistently reaching out to businesses and looking at the responses you get and the results you get and then reiterating and doing it again, then you'll never get clients. So all it really takes is just like you would go to the gym and you'd consistently lift weights to build muscle. With copywriting, you just write copy every single day to get better at it and then reach out to business owners on places like Upwork. And when you do get clients and you go above and beyond for them and you do a great job and you try and give them extra stuff for free, you'll build a great reputation which is worth its weight in gold. Now look, if you're still stuck and you want more clarity and a simple system to help you get your first clients and make money, there are some links in the description you can check out if you want to work with me one-to-one or get our proven systems to get you your first client. And if you click the video on screen, you'll get more advice on how to get clients and avoid most of the mistakes that copywriters make when they're starting out. So just click that and I'll see you in there.